Hello everyone, many of us have heard about RERA. RERA, what is RERA? I'm gonna complain to RERA, I'm gonna report you to RERA, and so on. So let's find out what is actually RERA. RERA is one of the arm of Dubai Land Department which regulates the participants of the real estate market. RERA was established by the order and by the law of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum on 31st of July 2007 year. 2007, this was one of the period where the real estate market of Dubai was extremely developing and evolving, and at that time it really required some certain hand from the government to regulate the entire real estate market. What does it mean to regulate the real estate market? Here where the RERA comes. Let's take all the participants of the real estate market. So we have property developers, we have real estate brokers, we have property management companies, we have the owners associations, and so on. The main idea of RERA is to regulate every single participant and entire activity of this participant. Let's take real estate developers. Real estate developers, this is the first instance. This is the company which developed a certain project. Okay, so RERA will be in charge of controlling the developer and controlling the project of developer. Let's take now the owners association. Owners association is a certain entity which controls and supervises the common areas of any jointly owned property. So owners association is controlling the jointly owned property and the common areas in this, and it sets a service charge. So owners association is the first instance which RERA also controls, and the service charge also controlled by the RERA by determining a certain RERA index of the service charge. And the owners association, they are not allowed to cross this index, so they cannot exaggerate the prices. Let's take the real estate brokers. Real estate brokers it's a middle power which helps the clients and the sellers and the leasers and the leasees. Okay, so RERA is in charge of supervising the entire activity of the real estate broker. Real estate broker, they produce no product, so they only help parties to find each other. So RERA supervise the activity of the broker and the entire relation between the parties, the client and the buyer. The CEO of RERA is Mr. Marwan bin Galaita. He is in charge of the entire RERA. He is the chief executive officer. How RERA controls the real estate market and participants? RERA determines and develops a real estate legislation to regulate the real estate market and to regulate all the parties in the real estate. The very main goal of the RERA is to make the real estate market very transparent. While Dubai Land Department is entirely representing the real estate market of Dubai, RERA is a certain policeman which punishes violators and that controls all the transaction in the real estate market. One of the ways of making the real estate market very transparent is that the RERA is having the entire data about everything. For example, if you are about to rent any property in Dubai, your lease agreement must be registered with RERA. Or let's say if any property developer working and developing and constructing building in Dubai, he must be licensed, and of course RERA is the one who is issuing the license. Nonetheless, the project which is to be developed also must be registered and authorized, certified by RERA. And after this, when the construction is commenced, RERA regularly will track the completion status of this project. How RERA make transparent the real estate market for the owners association? For the owners association, RERA is having a very good policy. For example, if any developer, when it's about to develop a certain community or project, it must also develop the rules of the community, and these rules must be submitted to the Dubai Land Department or to RERA. So whenever anyone purchasing any off-plan property, he also agreed to follow all the rules of the community management and of this project. And for example, when developer is about to determine the service charge, RERA always interferes in this. How? By simply setting a certain index which every developer or owners association must follow. Let's imagine the service charge index in downtown, for example, 15 to 20 dirhams. So the owners association or developer cannot charge 25 or 30 dirhams per square foot. Okay, how RERA controls and supervises brokers. So being a real estate broker, we all know that the mainly real estate brokers are generating their clients through the advertisements. This is how mainly they explore their network and grab the clients, or as they call it, leads, potential clients. RERA controls even the marketing of these real estate brokers. If you're a real estate broker and if you want to advertise any property, you must submit your advertisement, your entire description, to RERA via the online portal which called Trakisi, and the RERA finally might approve your ad, or they will approve your ad and you can start advertising. So in this case, RERA even is aware what exactly are you advertising, and they are giving you a certain permit which you must use in the advertisement. Moreover, RERA controls brokers by providing them the license to perform the activity of the real estate broker and educating them. In case if the broker will fail or act unethically or fail to follow a certain law or regulation of the emirate or the code of ethics, RERA might suspend and blacklist the license of the broker, and he will be no more longer available to provide brokerage service. For example, what about the leaser and the leasee, or the landlord and the tenant? In this case, here, in case if you are the landlord or the tenant and you have a certain complications, instead of RERA, you must approach RDC, which is a rental dispute settlement center, and they will be helping you to handle it. If you are the buyer or if you are the seller, so here it's a little bit easier, because one of the documents which regulates the relations between the buyer and the seller is MOU, which is a Memorandum of Understanding. All the points which are in Form A must be followed. If it's not followed, then the Form A can be cancelled and another party can get the 10% of the security check or the security deposit, which has been given priorly to the broker. Let's say if you are the buyer of an off-plan property, and we say that developers are entirely controlled by RERA and also supervised. In case if you have purchased any off-plan property and you spotted that your developer is not following the terms in SPA, which is a sales and purchase agreement, you can simply approach RERA and request them to cancel your SPA, which RERA will do so if you have enough evidence. Let's say you're a simple resident and you got bothered by the brokers. They are sending you spam emails, asking you to rent your property or to sell your property, or offering you any other property, or let's say they are calling you always or sending you SMSs. You can simply approach RERA, informing the mobile number and the name of the broker, and they will warn the broker to do not perform these activities, because these activities, which are unauthorized approach of the clients, are prohibited in UAE. Even RERA can penalize any of the participants of the real estate market by canceling their license. If it is developer which is failing to follow the commitments or the regulation, RERA can simply cancel their project. Or even if it's a property management company which is not following its agreement or has done a certain fraud, definitely the license will be cancelled as well. If we will take a brokers or owners association, in case of failure, definitely the license will be cancelled by RERA, and the fine will be imposed on all the parties which are failing to follow the rules and regulations. Nonetheless, RERA is controlling the escrow accounts. What RERA actually does is they appoint a certain accredited financial institutions, let's say banks, to manage the escrow accounts of developers. So how it works in a few words is Developer registers a certain project with RERA which he's about to construct, and definitely he must own a land, he must have purchased this land. And in this case, he must have a certain registered account number with the name of this project, where all the monies from the purchase will be transferred to this account called escrow account. And the government, the RERA, will release all of these monies to developer once he complete certain obligations imposed on him. Before than that, the money will be stored in escrow account. And in case of failure of the developer, the money can be recovered or refunded to the buyer, which makes it very safe. More than that, real estate regulatory agency, which is RERA, also controls the prices in the rental market. Let's say if one of the landlord is trying to exaggerate or overestimate his property by settling a super high price, for that particular case, RERA regularly updates all the rental price indexes all over UAE. So for each and every area in Dubai, RERA has a certain determined rental price index, and no landlord can cross and make this price higher. If you're suffering from your landlord who wants to put a very high price, unreasonable high price, so you can simply go to RERA, complain, and RERA will force your landlord to renew with the fair price, which is as per the market. RERA will follow its own rental index to determine the new market price. There is a law which is about real estate regulatory agency. This is law number 16 of 2007. This law about establishing the RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Agency. And in this law, it is clearly stated the main functions of RERA. Let's go through them. And the main function number one is to propose a certain legislation to control the brokers and the owners associations in the market. Then also RERA in charge of issuing bylaws regulating the real estate brokerage trainings and certification. So it means RERA directly interferes in the courses and the programs for the Dubai brokers to make sure that these programs are authentic. RERA is in charge of licensing all types of real estate activities. So we mentioned developers, we mentioned property management company, real estate brokers, owners associations, and so on. RERA also is in charge of accrediting financial institutions to manage escrow accounts. So it simply means RERA is taking, roughly saying, an interview from the banks and appointing all the banks to manage certain escrow accounts. As we said, RERA is in charge of licensing even the real estate brokerage companies, and they supervise their activity. What does mean supervise their activity? You won't believe, but sometimes it happens that RERA is going for viewing with the broker to make sure that the broker is performing everything as per law. RERA is also controlling the property management company. So property management company is a very sensitive industry where a certain landlord might give you several worth million dirhams property to you and can appoint you as a power of attorney. So in this case, RERA has a good regulation for this. If you want to start any property management activity, you must be having a 5 million deposit with the government in the bank. So to make sure that in case if you will run away with the property or if you will misuse the property, there is enough funds to compensate the landlord who you have taken the property from. RERA also registers all the tenancy contracts which are happening in Dubai. So any real estate contract which is registered with RERA, or means it is Ijari certified or you issued Ijari, these contracts in case of the disputes will be only regulated by RERA or RDC, which is a rental dispute settlement center. In case if your tenancy contract is not registered with Ijari, so these relations will not be regulated by RERA or the government. Also, RERA always supervise and audit the accounts and the records of owners association companies and establishment to make sure that everything is going very fine and no one is taking anything under tables. All the advertisement related to real estate activity must be registered with the RERA. If you want to advertise even on social media, on any of your Twitter, Facebook, or any of the accounts, you must get a certain authorization from RERA. So simply you go to the Trakesi website, you then put a copy of your ad, and RERA will check this ad and will give you a permit. Then after getting this permit, you can advertise your property. Only if you are a real estate broker or anyone engaged in the real estate activity, except a private person. If you're a private landlord, there are no restrictions, you can advertise without a permit. RERA is always open to give you any consultation. If you are one of the party, which is, let's say if you're a victim, you can simply go to RERA and definitely they will give you a free consultation and the free guidance. RERA is in charge of also spreading the knowledge, issuing different bulletins, and issuing different reports related to the real estate activity, so all the parties, even including the investors, can see what's going on in the Dubai's real estate market, which is awesome. And also one of the main functions of the RERA is to make sure that the local population Emiratis are involved in the real estate activities. Okay, what I personally like about RERA. About RERA, I like that I never saw in any of the countries in this world a certain government entity which will control everything. So what exactly helped them to control everything is every single step in the real estate, it is registered with the RERA and they have the entire information. If there is a certain step which is not registered with RERA, so this step or this certain activity or action is not considered illegitimate. For you, in order to perform any real estate activity, if you are a company or a firm, you must get for every single step an authorization from RERA. As I said, even just to publish a certain ad on your social network by advertising some of your landlord's property, you must get approval from RERA. And imagine even your Facebook post, I'm not talking a sponsored ad, your Facebook post is registered with RERA, so they have the entire information. So this is really, for me, it's amazing. And another thing is, let's say if you're renting any property, you must register your lease agreement with RERA. So your lease agreement will be stored in the RERA database in case if something happens. So this really also great. Another part, for example, for the owners associations, RERA always interferes, or not interferes, they always supervise owners association. They do a financial audit of them, and they make sure, RERA makes sure that owners associations are in between of the price index for the service charge. Also, RERA interferes in the real estate rental market and not allowing landlords to exceed certain price limits, which might spoil the market. So this is also really great. Or let's say if you are the purchaser or the buyer of any of the off-plan property, your transaction, your SPA, must be registered with RERA. And finally, with RERA on the official website, which is at DUBAILAND.GOV.AE, you can find the entire list of all registered real estate companies, including the brokerages, including the property management companies, including developers, including owners associations, and so on. Let's say if you're dealing with one of the developer or brokerage company or property management company or owners association, you can simply go to website of the BYLAWS department, and for example, which is at the same time the part of RERA, or RERA is the part of the BYLAWS department, it's arm of the BYLAWS department, and you can validate that this company is authentic company. And when you open the account of this company, you can see the number of their employees. For example, if you are about to buy or to rent a certain property with the help of a brokerage company, you can find this brokerage company on the BYLAWS department website. You can open the account of this brokerage company and you can see all the registered brokers. So again, it makes it very transparent. So this is what I personally like about RERA. So to finalize it, before you make any single step in the real estate market, RERA is giving you the entire information. Thank you guys, thank you very much. I hope this video was helpful. If you got any questions, leave the comment or send me the email. Have a great day.